Chat, here we go. It's Nass versus Toxic. Both these guys are going to be participating in the second stage of Salt Mine in this upcoming week, but they're in opposite groups. So we have them today warming up against each other. Is there a chance that they can still cross over and play each other in the playoffs? Definitely, there is. And both these guys are certainly the types of players who are going to be hoping to have a performance that finishes them in the playoffs. And Nass starting off hot in the beginning of this show match. I think Toxic and Nass, did they both finish at a place in the Salt Mine where they did not make playoffs but got to stay in the tournaments? I'm trying to remember where Toxic finished. I know that's the case for Nass. Yeah, it was Toxic as well. So both of them finished second to last, which is enough to earn a Salt Mine point and be able to auto-qualify for the next event, but not enough to go to the playoffs. So both of them looking to improve that performance for sure. And I think both of them are capable of it. I had Toxic doing pretty well coming into stage one. Obviously wasn't at the peak of his game with the way it went for him then. And I think I actually also had Nass in the playoffs. So I would say maybe a slight underperformance from both these guys based on what we've seen from them recently. So they'll be looking to turn it around. And no better way to do that than to get a little practice against each other before they lead into the event. Yo, Ginja, thank you for the 11 months of Prime. That is some hardcore commitment to the Prime. Much appreciated. You want to see Nupo there. The Saudi Arabian players are all in Riyadh playing Saudi E-League. Have you guys been watching Saudi E-League? So you probably won't be seeing them in any show matches or any tournaments and stuff until that's over, which I think is tomorrow. I think the final day, that's tomorrow. And they'll be back ready to play in the Salt Mine afterwards. But Falcons and Rule 1, I believe, both still in it over there. Falcons haven't lost a single game. Yeah, Rule 1 certainly has. I think Rule 1 has lost a couple different series now at this point. So we'll see if the Nupo Falcons have become untouchable once again in the Middle East. Nass going to make this 4-0. He's looking to be untouchable in this 1v1. Talking about the Middle East and untouchable, that is where Nass is from. Middle East, North Africa, I should say. Morocco, the MENA region, which is often sometimes just correlated to Saudi Arabia, the way they dominate it, which I guess I kind of did there. It is MENA that Nass is from. Toxic, oh my goodness. Just barely not getting an own goal. That was actually pretty impressive because he kept the ball away from Nass and controlled it on his goal line by hitting that near own goal. And a nice outplay here. Should be able... Oh no, it's not going to get the bounce. It's going to bounce high. If it had come directly off the wall, maybe he could have followed it up. Good read by Toxic to go grab boost instead, as it was not going to be shootable. He scores on the follow-up. Who's your pick for this show match? I think that coming into this show match, that Nass is probably the favorites. I'm not sure if predictions have been closed. Submissions have been closed. Yeah, you guys also have Nass as the favorite. You guys have him at 69% chance to win. I think that that might be appropriate. Maybe a bit high. Maybe a bit high, but certainly the favorite nonetheless, the way Nass has been playing. All depends if Toxic is back at his peak form, because he has certainly looked like a formidable foe when he's been playing his best ones. Finds himself low on boost again, which he's been in a few different occasions, with Nass pinning him on the back line. Toxic's going to be picking up pads. You see him driving across that outer semicircle in order to get something to work with, and Nass actually doesn't get any shot off of his initial dribble, but the follow-up will put him on the board. Yeah, the Rocket RB. Thank you for the 95 viewer raid. Nass making it 6-1 off the kickoff. Toxic, known for a while to be lethal on the kickoff, but certainly at a time when the meta is a little bit different. That was a pretty early jump for Toxic on the wave dash kickoff, which is something that I wanted to point out. If you guys have seen some of the ranked replays we've put up on YouTube of the player Trebla, he has been the only player, as far as I'm aware, to doing such an early jump to set up his wave dash kickoff. And Toxiic was about, you know, the closest I've seen to someone doing it as early as he does, even though it still wasn't as early. You said close predictions. I went to go check, and I think the submissions are close. Oh, submissions closing intent. Oh, okay, yeah. The prediction is rising in favor of Nass now that he has won game 1. So, or not won game 1, but is up 4 with a minute 15 left to go. I thought I read submissions closed, but it said submissions closing. So they are closed now. Got some advanced odds for anybody who was betting on Toxiic. If they end up being right, they'll have more to win for it. Toxiic guiding Nass basically into an own goal with 51 seconds left to go. Who do you think is the best Rocket League player in the world? I feel like that has been just agreed upon as Zen. And until RLCS starts up again and we get a chance to get players back in the toughest competition, it'll be hard to say. Both Moxie and First Killer, who won the biggest tournaments I would say that happened recently, which is Saltmine, aren't necessarily also in the argument for best player in the world. First Killer maybe, Moxie certainly not. But Tira, I would say, had the throne before Zen. I guess Fatira and his team won the most recent off-season tournaments. So you could argue that he stole it back there. But I'm not so sure that's what the public opinion would be. Toxiic is working his way back, by the way. 13 seconds. We close submissions on the bet right around the maximum lead for Nass. So maybe some Nass voters sweating a little bit as they might not even get this guaranteed game. They thought they were going to have a demo. Can Toxiic score off of it? He's not going to go immediately. Instead, he's going to play it slow. He recognized the power wasn't going to get there, but that didn't work either. So maybe the power would have been the best chance. He didn't have a ton of boost to try and get the shot. Nass going to hold on just barely and win game number 1. Game number 2. Toxiic arguably has momentum in his favor despite the game 1 loss. Things were going well for him late after Nass took what I believe was something like a 6-2 lead. Toxiic brought it all the way back within 1 before the clock struck 0 before he could tie it up. He'll take the lead now. Dark is live right now. I saw Dark was live yesterday too. A lot of people here like to ask about what Dark is up to. Understandably, he's one of the more entertaining ones players who's played on the stream. And I think he's been in and out of playing Rocket League very much. So seeing him live is certainly nice to know that maybe he's back on the grind. Maybe we'll see Dark in the future. Toxiic. Ball to air dribble, ceiling reset as he tries to get the aerial game involved, and he just got a sweet ceiling double in order to launch the ball in his own net. Wanted to keep the ball away from Nass and got a little cut up in trying to do it speedy instead of controlled. Nass getting this past Toxiic, but he's not going to be able to get the shot before the recovery. So he lays off the shot, instead goes for the boost steal. Toxiic grabs the midfield in the demo. And he is going to go for the immediate shot this time, almost like trying to make up for when he didn't take the quick shot after demo in the last game. But this situation showed exactly why the immediate shot isn't necessarily the best play. Nass easily controls it and then converts the possession for a goal. Nass keeping the resets not too high. Ends up dropping down early. Toxic's gonna go double jump bump and it converts. No need to get too fancy with it. The shadowing defender, just a couple jumps can get the job done. Toxic, not going to be able to get back to this. I felt like there was a moment where he did not need to give up this opportunity. You think Matey could easily be top 4 NA. If you guys haven't heard, M80 is rumored to be playing with Nass, Joyous, and AJ. We've mentioned it a few times since all 3 of those players have played matches recently. But if you had to guess, chat, where will Matey finish in their, on average, in their first split in North America? What would you say? Assuming they're going to be playing in North America, that is Nass, Joyous, AJ. First. Finishing first on average means they win. You know, assuming it works like it does last year, which we don't know if that's the case. It could be completely different. That would mean winning every single split. Nass, nice keep away as he goes to ceiling heights. Toxic wanted to challenge him here early, but Nass actually brought it back up. Even though Toxic was really high in the arena, as about high as you can get from the ceiling, you're forced to drop down and have downward momentum. So if you as the offender can keep the ball at ceiling height long enough, you can get them to miss. In this case, Nass did that by sending it right back into the ceiling for the double. Toxic will get Nass to miss in the corner. Just sliding around the ball and taking a touch meant purely to get Nass to miss. Defender's so used to shadowing and prepping to stop the ball from moving to the net. You can get all the way around the ball and place it away. And sometimes earn yourself a free opportunity. Toxic, the flick far too late on the setup. And Nass is able to eat it up. Maintain this 2-goal lead. Nass has a rolling ball for a hook shot. Toxic pre-jumps it. Is he going to be able to recover in time? He actually recovered decently well. He came across the net at full speed. Oh, he tried to backflip off of it. Not as good as recovery as you can get. He actually pulled off of the guns there. If he had fully sped to the top right corner, he would have been able to get there in time. But of course, it's hard to do that without knowing for sure that that's where Nass is going to put it, as you might just send yourself flying and get abused by a fake. Wave dash kickoff for Nass as he holds a 1-0 lead. Ceiling reset. Toxic falls off the back wall and Nass slots it into the bottom right. Doesn't even necessarily keep it high to punish Toxic, who is backwards wave dashing into the net. Nass is on form in ones recently. Yeah, I agree. Nass looked really good going into the first salt mine. And I was quite surprised at his finish. Nice fakes. Toxic has been really good around the net with these fakes and these flicks. But yeah, Nass ended up finishing 5th. I think Khaled did well. Got his salt mine buff potentially. That was one of the reasons why Nass had such a tough time. I believe he was also in Nupo's pool. Nupo really took a huge level up too when it came to Salt Mine Stage 1. Toxic. Oh my goodness, look at the shot from Toxic. Is it going to be in a goal? Oh no, Nass has the save. It was a very creative like bump attempt, then backflip, soft touch, recovery. Almost led to the goal. Nass missed play as he slammed himself into the ground. Not one that Toxic can punish off of. In fact, when he tried to, he ends up getting counterattacked as Nass sends it to the ceiling and has the follow-up. Nass trying to get some goal line antics against Toxic as he power slide cuts the ball away. 30 seconds. Back pass off his own backboard as he sees Toxic in too close, and the long shot results in a now 4-goal lead with 20 seconds left to go. Seems like a guaranteed win for Nass. Toxiic is certainly known for his kickoff, but hasn't been dominating with it as much today to believe in him making up a 4-goal deficit in 15 seconds. Toxiic. One last boom with the ball to the ceiling. Might be able to shoot this on his own nets. Game 2 going to Nass as well. He's trying to make it a nice clean sweep. Toxiic looking to bounce back as he preps for Salt Mine. Game number 3. Nass and Toxiic. Oh, Nass. Wall dashing into this setup. Flew a bit too far off the ball there to set up what could have been a very impressive double. We need another Nass match. This will be his 8th show match win in a row. Is that right? Nass been on an absolute roll. I'm assuming you're not including Salt Mine because, of course, Salt Mine didn't go as cleanly for him. Yo, IT Grandpa. Thank you for the gifted sub over to Deeply Trek. Nass. What a smooth recovery and counterattack. Pops this one up to the back wall. Lands so quickly. Jumping and getting that dash in order to gain more speed. Before you know it, it's back in Toxic's net. Toxiic trying to bump Nass off the ball. Resulting in Nass just getting both back corner boosts. And I like this off-cadence catch by Nass. A lot of players want to have the ball come all the way to the ground and play it off the bounce. It's much easier to do that than to try and steal it off of its downward momentum. And Toxic's early challenge, fake, forced Nass up into the air. He forced him to do that, but it didn't seem to affect his dribble at all, which is an impressive bit of mechanics that not every player can do. Being able to control the ball at any moment makes your life much easier when it comes to opponents challenging, fake challenging, forcing you to play what might be uncomfortable positions for others, but not for Nass, as he pogos. It's certainly not going to be a goal unless Toxiic really chokes on the goal line. Did I see Atomic's crazy run? Yeah, I heard that I basically inspired that because I said I don't think anybody who's lost in the first round will qualify or has ever qualified. And then I think Atomic lost in the very first round of the close qualifier, which put him on his second life right away, and then didn't lose again. Didn't lose again all the way into qualifying, which is ridiculous. Ooh, Nass. Nice. Slot to make it 3-1. Flicking over the top of Toxiic. Nass turtling, and somehow it's going to work out defensively as Toxiic just hands him the ball. Nass now into a dribble of his own, leaning back into a reset, the backflip flick. I mean, he didn't really move the ball much, but apparently it was enough to get Toxiic to miss. I want to see from Toxic's perspective what this looked like. Oh, he just thought, oh wow, he got it just enough. He thought it was dropping down lower. To be fair, it's hard to predict that kind of play out of Nass. Toxiic does read the fake kickoff and will immediately punish. Toxiic back to stop the kickoff goal going right back in his nets. So he gets his first open field opportunity. An interesting pop of the ball with the tail end of his flip, but never one that really threatened the nets. Cut this just a little bit too far past the goal line. There was probably a world where that ball could have been controlled perfectly for a goal, but it's not going to matter as Toxiic takes the ball right back from Nass here in the corner, or really just accepts the pass that Nass gave him Nass. Air dribble to the ceiling, back down. Just barely wide. Little camera check for him to see if Toxic is coming to take the ball away, and Toxic is. Toxic just diving. Pre-jumps the challenge here and gets Nass to back off. Doesn't actually touch the ball though. Wave dash pop, or wave dash catch, I should say. Didn't quite pop the ball. But then the flick is over the top of Nass in the tie game. Just under 2 minutes. Toxic back against the wall here in this best of 5. He has certainly gotten more of these direct kickoffs than Nass has. And he does get them when both players are going to... Actually, I was going to say going to standard, but Nass actually got on the wrong side of the ball. That wave dash kickoff has everything to do with getting dead center on the ball. And because he allowed Toxic to win it to a side, it resulted in an immediate goal. Nass joins him at the standard kickoff. Actually, they trade. Looks like Toxic was going for the wave dash kickoff. His attempt to landing wave dash to catch back up might have sent him out of position, but otherwise could have been a playable position. Toxic backing off into the corner after starting the dribble for Nass, who gets the flip low late. It's all going to be about this recovery and whether or not he can keep himself from getting scored on after a reset shot with the ball landing outside of the net. That is not often one you get away with. You need to be slotting the ball at least in the top half of the net if you're going to be using your flip in the air, because of course that results in a much slower recovery. So the shot has to be much better, as that is just a full gradient between how good the shot is and how fast the recovery is. Here in this case, Nass, a pretty low quality shot, I would say, if you actually were expecting it to score, but a really high, or a quick recovery I should say, high quality recovery, as he immediately lands and steals Toxic's corner boost. Nass will now take a long shot off of Toxic's mistake. 6-6 with 1:02 left to go. Toxic just trying to extend the series. Nass wants to end it in a full sweep. Nass backing off Toxic as he gains possession. Toxic just rolled the ball right at Nass. I mean, Nass, I would argue, during the dribble, you could see was too far out to the center of the field, such that he was leaving the cutback open, whether or not to a goal or just to a really poor save. You'd have to reverse and backward to make a save. Instead, Toxic just played it right into his hands, just flipped it out right where Nass was prepping. You know, he didn't pre-jump, but he essentially pre-positioned. He like cheated really far out midfield, which needs to get punished, but did not. Toxic just gave it to him. Now he finds himself down 2. He's going to need some cheeky kickoffs to bring it back. Delay kickoff. We'll give him a nice possession to work with. Nass going to play passively. Toxic almost certainly going to set up a bump if Nass doesn't make a play on the ball soon. And Toxic maybe had that read. That kind of single jump felt like it was a precursor, like a warning. Hey, I'm going to double jump bump you if you let me walk this all the way in. Nass tried to prevent that, but Toxic had the counter, was one step ahead. And another dribble from Nass where he takes it as it's arced down to the ground in order to force Toxic back into defense. Toxic wanting to pressure him here, wanting to disallow him from getting these dribbles going, but Nass is so solid at starting the dribbles from any sort of position, any sort of trajectory, and he has himself a comfortable 2-goal lead with 14 seconds. Toxic bumped to the side wall. Nass, a victory lap here in what is a sweep over Toxic. Toxic missing on this challenge. Throwing the GGs, Nass keeping the ball in the air. I don't know if he's going to go own goal or what his plan is for the final shot. But it will hit ground. GG's. It is... I never get in time. I even tried to pre-type it this time. They are both gone. Thanks for playing. Nass and Toxic. Nass maybe looking a bit more ready for Salt Mine Stage 2.